set so they don't pick up the opera and like the weird artist noises over there.
I normally speak really softly, so this one I'm going to really try to make sure.
Oh, no, you don't have to. Dude, it's cool, man. The amount of audio engineering I do on this thing, you could whisper and it would sound just like you're talking normal.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's people that shout who are like, yo, what's up? Like,
and that's what clips your mic, and then that's what
hey, you know about all that.
Yep.
But it's cool, man. If that's your energy, then keep that energy.
I'm with it.
All right, guys, so welcome back to That's the Angle. And today I am joined here with Gregory Michael.
How you doing, sir? It's very much a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, dude. It was cool meeting you the other day.
Yes, that was invigorating.
We got to be careful. We can't talk much about that.
We can't talk much
because
about
it's going to come out before that.
That is true.
Yeah,
we have to be very specific with what it is we say.
Yeah, I have to be very careful. But it was so cool meeting you because literally, the first thing I said when I met you, I was like, "Damn, your facial hair looks way better in person."
I try really hard at it. So, of course, big thank yous and everything to Faded Beard, Dandy Candy Mustache Wax for that one. So they were able to get me right. But it's been a 10-year process, really.
Behind the facial hair?
Yes.
Dude, I mean, when I saw it, it looked like you had maybe ironed it or something or smoothed it out. And it was like the stash was long and curled. And then it's just for people who are listening and don't see how epic Greg looks. and like, you have like your soap patch like long and twisted, and your beard. Dude, it's what do you call this facial hairstyle? Dude,
well,
this is
I guess I would call it the Greg Michael, but
I've never seen this.
There's a funny story about this one, right? People ask me all the time. I get stopped on the street. Mm-hmm. People just will sit there and be in awe or aghast or however it is that you care to express yourself. Just walking to Starbucks that morning, you know. But people ask me all the time, where did this come from? How did you come up with this idea? The truth of the matter is, aside from any long yarn that I would spin to really kind of get that person to open
like
up.
Cool story or whatever.
No, not at all. I mean, of course, I'll create something on the fly, you know, just to get them to open up a little bit, just general icebreaker. But
so how did it get to this point, Danny?
I just didn't shave one day. This is what happened. One day, I just really didn't feel like addressing anything when it came to, you know, facial hair, because it grows really fast, but it's really just all over the place, you know? And one day, the middle part here just got a little long, and I was just like, I wonder what would happen if I just let this go for like another 2-3 weeks.
Like everything?
No, not even everything. At first, this mustache started just here in the middle. So, and I had this micro handlebar mustache that was just ridiculously long, but only right here in the middle of my face, right? And I was just like, let me see how this plays out, you know? Started playing around with it, twisting it, styling it a couple of different ways, and just literally having fun with your facial hair at this point. And it just kept going.
Dude, it literally looks like you have tons of fun with your facial hair, man.
Oh, man, shoot. The 3 hours that I spend in the morning to be able to address it.
Like this shit is like, whoa, 3 hours every morning?
3 hours, man. This is a process.
To twist and to just sort of like line up. What?
When I sit here and do this stash, breaking it completely down for you.
I'm curious.
on one side, 45 on the other. This right here takes about 20. And if I put the 2 curls in this as well, too, that's another hour.
Damn. And do you put like beeswax in there? Or what do you do?
It depends on what's going on. Like in the wintertime, a good pomade, that right there is ideal, especially because it's so cold outside in D.C. winters, okay? It'll like flash freeze it and you'll get that right type of stiffness.
Like icicles coming off.
I've actually had that happen. A trip to Chicago, because I just literally did it on a plane. I came out like it just completely froze, like ice cold, and there was a little icicle from it and everything. I just ran with it.
Why not at that point?
You know, so it matched the suit and everything too. You know, I was like, fine, we're good. But yeah, it's a long process, man. And you know, the style and curling and be able to get this right, and sometimes you get it wrong. And then that's an entire day.
Bro, there has to be some experimentation going on there, man.
So much, man.
But the reason I bring it up is just because like you have just such a unique look, and something like that does not happen overnight. And you're not a blogger.
No, not at all. Not a blogger, not an influencer. I am just a simple arbiter. So
what does that mean? What does arbiter mean?
Well, Arbiter Elegantiarum, which would be the title that it is that through so much of my endeavors and many, many hours, I've earned through a hard way. An Arbiter Elegantiarum is a judge and a purveyor of style. He allows an individual to be coached and developed in the art of sartorius, specifically in my field, but it's a gauge and judge of elegance as a whole. I'm just as adept of telling you the history behind the Lincoln Continental as much as I would your Glenfiddich whiskey if you wanted that, or your double-breasted 4-2 tweed suit.
So you're like a samurai of menswear elegance, or
Yes.
like elegance or men's, like what is?
That would be a great way of putting it. In fact, I might have to take that from you. Samurai of menswear elegance. I love that one. That's perfect.
But you're not a style influencer. Like you're not a blogger.
No, not at all. So to be honest, there's so many other proficient people that are in this field, especially in DC, that can sit here and talk about what happened on the Oscars or what was going on and everything in Milan. I have to dole in so deeply to my craft that being a part of the blogosphere is difficult, It's just so difficult just on a daily basis to create content. I don't really come from that, I guess, creative space per se. A lot of what it is that I do is very technical. So I curate our regalia of cloth in our location, and you have to have an encyclopedic knowledge of cloth weight, twill, drape.
Dude, just seeing you work the other day with whatever it was we were doing that we have signed NDAs and not going to talk about, your knowledge about just, and I was like, yeah, just act like you're doing a normal suit consultation. And you were actually doing it, and you weren't just like saying bullshit words. You were literally talking about it. I'm just like, whoa, like it's insane. But I want to go back to the Arbiter Elegantiarum.
Arbiter Elegantiarum. Yep.
Wow. It sounds like I just said a Harry Potter spell right there. But dude, that is so cool, because this is not like a suit style blogger. Like this is like, you're that guy who gives people, like, that's why I give someone that menswear style.
Mm-hmm. Gives you the smart look, a purposeful look, serious style that is timeless, utilitarian, powerful, distinct. All of these things present you in the room completely differently. It allows you to be taken seriously, and it gives you presence. It allows your clothing, if we may, to speak for what it is that you're about and what it is that you're trying to achieve.
So what does that look like? How does being an arbiter work on like a day-to-day basis?
On a day-to-day basis, I say this pretty often. I spend 23 days in a month preparing for 4 days of work.
Well,
and it's very variable. It really depends on the individual that comes into us. You have guys that are, dandies in the spirit of Beau Brummel. And then you have your congressman or your constituent or your lawyer who is really drab. They wear the same navy, charcoal, or gray suit and a single-breasted 2-button every day.
And we're talking suits here.
Yeah, we're talking suits here,
yeah.
And they don't really get extravagant with it. To really present them with a window pane would be just like, okay, this is pushing the envelope a little bit for me.
Yeah, you could not throw what you're wearing on one of those guys. Like
No.
it's
No. They would
bars up here, but for you, it's like for that customer, it's like, okay, you see me, I am that sort of style masterpiece icon, like that thing that you're not going to want to do. But let me tone it down for you.
Exactly. And even with that, I gauge my audience extremely well. Like whoever it is that you meet, you have to make it relative. And that's the difference between the fashion and style industry per se. One, if you're working in timeless elegance, serious sartorial style, you have to match your audience. There may be a day where I have somebody that really wants to see those crazy madras, or he really does want to see the wildest floral and paisley prints. And you want to emulate that so it becomes relative and palatable to them. On the other side of it, you don't want to go to a Fortune 500 CEO wearing a Bengal stripe in purple and gold.
What is a Bengal stripe?
Not too different than what I have here, but just imagine if these were just solid stripes.
So it's like a blue and white stripe, but the white stripe has blue stripes in it.
Yes, exactly. Extremely thick.
I had to break down for people listening. They can't see your swag right now. So
I appreciate it.
And you said this was an Ocean's 11 suit?
This was inspired by Rusty Ryan from Ocean's 11. Yes.
It's a great movie. Yeah, it's a great movie.
I love that movie.
What scene was he wearing that suit?
Well, actually, it's not something directly inspired from him. It's more so about who he was. So Brad Pitt in Ocean's 11, was extremely savvy. His savoir-faire at every point. He was never off kilter. Nothing really unsettled him. He always had the right thing to say. He was always poised in his moment. Okay. There was a scene. I love this movie, by the way. And
It's a classic for me. I grew up on that movie.
Yes. So, and when they remade everything, it was just, I love it, But the one thing that always really stuck out to me is just how aloof Brad Pitt was in Ocean's 11 with his style. And that's really what you want to capture in this business. It wants to look like you didn't try it all, even if you spent all day trying to put together a look. It's not meant to be forced. It's meant to be a natural expression of who you are. An afterthought, completely casual in the way it is that you approach it, because it's something that is innate to you. And even if it's not, there's ways for us to be able to build that in you.
So you should be able to match someone with a suit that is essentially an extension of themselves.
Yes, exactly.
It doesn't look like, why are they wearing that? Or it doesn't look off kilter. It looks like something they would have chosen that fits them perfectly.
And that right there is where the art comes in. I have dialogue with individuals so much. Like before we even sit down and have a consultation, I just sit down and ask you 3 simple questions, What colors are you drawn to, for example? How do you want to be represented in the room as far as your core values, What types of things are outlandish to you? What type of things are dear to you? Understanding who that person is directs me in where I need to go as far as how they need to be dressed. And then their input brought into the consultation really allows us to create something that is truly unique. But versatility, utilitarianism, and purpose is extremely important.
That makes a lot of sense, because I don't think most guys even own a suit, let alone could answer questions like what kind of fit, what kind of cut, what kind of buttons, what kind of, so when you ask these questions are more like personality questions, it helps way more than than those other ones.
Right. Exactly. Guys will come in a lot of times, especially if they're new to the environment, and they just hop right into, well, I need this suit for, okay. Would you like a drink? We have these whiskey lockers here for a reason, so by the way, Stitch Life in MGM National Harbor. So,
oh yeah, that is where you are the Arbiter.
That is true. That is true. So beautiful place. The home of Las Vegas authenticity, gentlemanly candor with subtle hints of a reference. That is what it is we espouse within the Stitch lifestyle brand.
It feels like so many things you have said 1,000 times. Like you just say them so eloquently, or just even if you say them off the top of your dome, like you say them so well.
Practice. So being polished is another effort as well too. So, but this is natural. This is authentic. This right here.
Oh no, 100%.
Right.
100%.
And you make me feel comfortable, especially being in this platform. So that's the part that really makes this so much easier. So
it's interesting that you're at the MGM. That seems like such a random spot, because it's like this really nice hotel resort casino right off the bridge between Maryland and Virginia, and like inside there is where you are. It's so nuts.
For me, I grew up in Fort Washington. So I remember when what we call National Harbor was just an extension of either Fort Washington if you went north, or Oxon Hill if you went south.
Oh, so you're from the area?
I'm from the area. The house that I grew up in as a child is 3 minutes from the casino. I can walk to it. My grandmother's house on both sides of my family are north or south, 5 minutes down the street.
So I imagine you didn't come out the womb wearing a suit and having insane style. Like how did you get into the whole suit and Arbiter industry? Like,
I'm actually glad that you said that, because that is in itself a long story.
Yeah, let's do it.
The truth of the matter is, it goes down into a core value that I have. When it comes to sartorialism.
Which sartorialism is exactly what?
Sartorialism is the art of fine tailored clothing.
And it doesn't have to be just suits.
No, not at all. You understanding your body, you understanding fit, and you understanding comfortability, and being able to express yourself uniquely through your clothing, and it being personalized to you. Have an appreciation for the elements that come in practice when it comes to fine tailoring, having an understanding of drape, having an understanding of fit, proportion, how these colors and how these patterns play off of each other, and enhanced levels of styling. So, but most importantly, have an appreciation for tailoring as a whole, and understanding your body and how it fits in clothing, no matter what that clothing may be. Casual, athleisure, sport, suits, however. So, but one really critical point about it is that these types of things are not native to people anymore. The workplace itself has changed. you don't need a 2 or 3 piece suit now to work for some of the biggest
not the
companies.
norm.
It's not. You know, Mark Zuckerberg, for example. Okay.
You can come in jeans and a t-shirt to Facebook.
Jeans and a t-shirt. It is a desert eagle to what it is that I do. Okay.
Because that seems like where a lot of the business perhaps would have came from.
Yes. But the workplace has changed so dramatically. And then on the other side of it, you have a lot of things available as far as fast fashion is concerned, where people go for a look, but they don't understand what that look represents. You know, people, and I see it all the time, you know, completely disregard proportion, completely disregard their size. They just are going for what it is they saw on TV or what it is that they saw on social media or in a pictorial ad. It's like if you're 6'7", okay, you probably can't wear the same thing as a model that is almost a foot smaller than you.
Yeah.
Exactly the same way.
It won't fit the same way. It won't drape the same way, everything.
Just account for it to you.
Yeah.
You know, that's all it is that you really have to do. But more importantly, some things were not ever meant to look or feel that way. Everybody has seen the over tight suit.
Oh,
right.
It's like we came from that. I mean, I'm probably wrong here, but we came from that where suits weren't fitted, and then now everything became fitted. Like that time when jeans became a little tighter, and everything became tighter when people at school were like, yo, looking mad young to whatever you were wearing, and then now it's like those same guys are rocking the same tight pants, but they're still hanging below their butt. But it's cool for things to fit tight, but when is it too tight? I guess is what you're saying.
Well, that's the thing. I'm glad you said that. When is it too tight? When it's too tight. If you can't put your foot through your leg opening, then you made a mistake.
I always thought it was like too tight or too small. If like you lifted your arms and you had a belly shirt.
Well, that too as well, but also realistically. And that's the thing. We live in a real world, especially when it comes to Satori. We live in a real world. Would you be, you know, lifting your arms up and doing jumping jacks in a 3-piece suit? No. So realistically, it's not meant to give you that type of mobility where you can go climb an Eiffel Tower.
It's like a confined elegance in a way.
Yes, to a degree, but you still should be able to shake somebody's hand without your jacket sleeve ending up at your elbow. You know, you should be able to sit down and your seams are not going to split or your fabric is not stressed because the garment's so tight. You should be able to be comfortable. And that's what's important. Comfort. This whole business is built around comfort. And somewhere along the line, that message got skewed.
I thought fashion was pain, though.
Fashion is. Style is not.
Ooh.
You know, I can sit here and completely relate with somebody that's going to sit in front of, with a look.
Yeah.
Sit in front of a halogen lamp for 12 hours just to be able to capture a certain pose and slight changes in their facial expression and body, et cetera, et cetera. The best response that I get from any content as I put out is me walking down the street wearing exactly what it is I'm wearing to work, to the coffee shop, to anything. I'm not posing. I'm talking to somebody and the camera's just going off, you know? And a lot of the sartorialists in the city do that as well, too. They may strike a pose every now and again, but it's not a pose. It's not something that you're going to see down Vogue. They're just standing or they're sitting or they're drinking coffee.
It's very natural. Anything they do looks good in a weird way because the fashion looks, and that's something I've noticed as a photographer is that when the styling is that good, when the clothes you're wearing is that good, it's an art. You know, this clothes and fashion is art. When it's that good, they can literally just fucking stand there.
Right.
And it looks good. They could look dead. Like they could be a zombie wearing those clothes, but it will look good.
And you know what that is? Authenticity. This business is all about authenticity. Completely naturally. Every suit that it is you've ever seen me in, I own.
Damn.
Okay.
I wish I could say the same thing.
Well, very soon we will, because I'm appreciating the rapport that we have. So I think the gift is in order.
Oh man, don't get me excited here.
Definitely.
I expect nothing. I know that stuff costs money, and my basic ass is wearing a pullover, bro.
But even with that being said, it still looks good because it's you. Authenticity. I can throw a simple Hopsack sport coat on you right now, okay? And it's still you because it's your look, okay? Your hair, the scruff, everything. It's authentic to you. You're not meant to look like a supermodel when you're living your life under your terms, wearing what you're comfortable in. And that also gives you power, you know? The way that you present yourself, the way you poke your chest out, the way it is
a suit is very powerful. Like a well-fitting suit. Like there's something about it that kind of changes your psyche a little bit. You kind of feel like your dick grew a little bit. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It's like the few times I do get to wear them in a year, it's like you just feel an extra air of like I make double my income, or you just feel good.
And you know, a power suit can definitely do that for you. But the thing about it is that where does that power really come from? Does it really come from the garment? Or does it come from your perceptions of what it is that you're being looked at, or how you're interacting with people in that garment?
Well, it's the perceptions. It's like you feel like you're better than your old self or something like that. Like you're an enhanced or refined version in a way.
It's still an expression of you, though. It's still at core comes from you.
It's very true.
Yes. So it's just giving another level of depth to yourself, you know? Because at the end of the day, you chose it, you know? You're wearing it. Only you can wear it the way that you're wearing it. It's just a further extension of your own grandiosity.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you get into what you do now?
Oh, so yes, I did kind of go on a tangent. So.
Oh no, that's the best kinds, man. It's a conversation. This is not like an AB interview. We can go anywhere, baby.
Love it, man. Love it. When I got into this industry, I truly did not have an understanding of proper fit. So a great individual who I will thank for the entirety of my life, the entirety of my career, Christina Bedwell, actually, was one of my customers when I was working in territory management. Okay. She just stopped into my location one day. We did the experience that you normally do in the sales and in a marketing field. And she was like, you know, you dress so well.
So even then you were...
But I didn't understand why. And I didn't understand how. And I didn't understand. I was that guy that wore suspenders with the belt. You know, I'm not the guy that had the matching shoes and everything to my belt. Or, you know, I would go with sometimes, because I'm a slim guy. You know, I had an overly tight shirt every now and again. But, you know, it was stylish. But she was like, you dress so well. And you're charismatic. And... okay, I'm charismatic. I don't believe my own hype, but yeah. Okay, you're charismatic. You know how to be able to speak with an individual. You know how to be able to market yourself as well as your brand. I think you should really look at this. And at that time, that was J. Hilburn. So,
which is what?
J. Hilburn is a made-to-measure company, which excels in being able to provide you with a truly tailored experience on your terms and in your convenience. So I was an independent personal stylist with J. Hilburn for many years.
Oh, so that was like your first foray into the fashion world.
Yes, absolutely. So there, a J. Hilburn stylist, for example, would come to your house or your office completely on your terms, making a completely convenient view, and bring everything, swatches, shirting, examples, sport coats, things for you to try on, do your fitting right there in your office or the comfort of your own home, completely on your terms as a personal concierge.
Was that a relatively new idea back then?
Back then, yes, very much so.
Yeah, because I feel like this whole personal styled thing is kind of a new wave that everyone's sort of doing now, but maybe back then it was, I feel like it was way more like Men's Warehouse, get something that generally fits you and get the hell out.
And that's what people really stopped doing, is that the customer changed. Millennials, Gen Xers, they wanted convenience. They wanted a better look. They didn't want to look like their fathers, for example.
True.
You know? But that also came with the lack of understanding of why their father looked the way they are, which is where you get into the higher levels of business where I am now. But back to that. Yes, it became about convenience. It became about options. It became about a better look. It became about a more structured look. And it became about something that they could identify with their generation.
Okay.
You know? So you would sit there, you would go, and you would have that consultation in the convenience of somebody's home or, you know, wherever it is that they want. It could be in a coffee shop. I mean, you could just meet them downtown.
Wherever they were comfortable.
Right. Or, you know, for example, in the studio. Yeah. So,
wherever.
And just go through the motions. You know, go through everything. And the most important part about it is that it took away that uncomfortability
of being in like a suit shop and having to know everything. And when they ask your measurements, no one ever knows.
Right. And furthermore, you can't feel like you're being sold if you invited somebody into your own house. You know?
It's very true. You're kind of in the snake pit when you're in like a tailoring shop, or they measure you kind of like you have to get something.
Right. You know, like a lot of people feel uncomfortable, or back then especially, not so much now, but a lot of people back then felt uncomfortable being in a traditional retail environment. In fact, it didn't even appeal to a lot of millennials because their life is on the go, you know? Their pursuits and their interests are completely different. Attention span is a lot shorter.
Very true.
But you can't feel like you're being sold or you're being pressured into a sale or you're being pushed in a certain direction when you had to invite this person into your house. You had to tell them the time that it was good for them to be able to come through. You have to have some type of rapport with this person before you even got to that point.
In your house.
You're right. You're in that person's house. It becomes a conversation at that point. It's like dealing with an old friend.
So you were doing that?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And that was the important part about it, is that it took away that anxiety. It allowed a man to be a man, how he defines it. And then you talk about how you just enhance it. It was completely egoless.
It's really interesting that you say that allows a man to be a man, but like most super hetero straight men would assume that like going that far for a suit, it's gay. I'm sure you get those remarks too.
Oh boy.
Like I'm sure people assume you're just sucking every dick.
I know, right?
I don't know how to say it, but the days where I dress even a little nicer, people are like, oh, are you gay? Like, I'm like, dude, a straight dude can't dress nice. A straight dude can't wear a suit, can't style their facial hair without.
I'm actually glad you brought that up, right? Because as you guys can see, these nails are immaculately done. So,
are those coated too?
Oh yes, to a high degree.
Those things look nice.
And this pompadour, I don't know how many individuals my tone you see with a pompadour this elegant. Thank you, uppercut gents. Mel B, the barber, by the way.
Hey,
But that's the thing, is that yes, perception in a lot of times can be reality. But that's the thing, is that you define it by things that is you do and don't do. But it starts a conversation, I have a stover top hat right over here sitting. I'm walking down the street in the CVS. I'm just getting a bag of Lay's potato chips, okay? And the entire energy and attention in the aisle is just completely focused around me. And I'm just like, how you doing?
Yeah, that's really interesting dynamic, because even walking with you, I started to feel way. I'm like, damn, I'm with this guy who looks so different than me. Like, this is really interesting.
And it starts conversations. But you'll get a lot of different things. First, being honest, at this level of the industry, I've had more inquiries into my personal life,
of course, I'm sure,
et cetera, than anything else. And I'd be like, really?
A lot of propositioning, stuff like that. Like, or just like, you want to grab a drink?
And the thing about it is that it gets interesting sometimes, but I just really get inquisitive. I'm like, really? Wasn't getting that 2 years ago. What's changed? Please tell me. Like, what is it that I'm projecting out here that makes it that way? But, people have narrow understandings. People categorize things a lot. It allows them to be comfortable, But
you also look so different than everyone walking around the street. I don't think, if you weren't here today, I don't think I had to see anyone in my day-to-day who sticks out as much as you do. It makes you inquisitive to like, why is this dude in a perfectly fit suit with a pattern that's crazy, with hair on his body that's perfectly, like, it's just... Like, do you get that? Like, it's so eye-catching and so different than our norm.
And it starts a conversation. And I have met so many vibrant individuals, okay, professional and personally, just because we're walking down the street, they notice something or I notice something, and it makes the icebreaker that easy.
Really?
I use it as a networking tool. I tell people all the time whenever they come into my shop or when I'm walking down the street is that, hey, this made you come and talk to me, right? We probably would have never had this type of interaction.
It's really interesting when you look at it from that perspective, that it attracts people to you to start talking to you.
And you need that, I don't consider myself the most boisterous individual in the world. I just am, but I'm not overtly outgoing. At least I don't think so. I know when to turn it on, of course. It's necessary in my profession. But, I like discourse, So anything that allows me to aid in that, especially if we're talking about garments that do have a certain level of prestige and do definitely have a certain price point, it just helps for anything that can start that conversation. And being in this creative space too, because the lifestyle element of my business is very vast and very broad as well too. So, creative, like for example with you, this platform never happened if I wasn't in this industry looking the way it is.
That's very interesting. Yeah, if you didn't, even if you knew everything you knew, but if you didn't look how you do and present yourself the way you do, I might not have asked you to be on here.
Right. there's no intrinsic draw.
Yeah,
you know?
but looking at you, it's like I can tell that there's something there because the way you choose to dress yourself is so distinct that there has to be something there that someone is so confident enough to present themselves this way.
And it creates attention. It creates a great way to be able to spin media. It starts a conversation. It draws attention to whatever platform it is you're on. It helps move the needle.
That's interesting. In a way, it's you almost start to realize it like it's a tool in a positive way. Like you almost make me want to dress up more and wear more like iconic things. So it's like maybe someone could come up to me like, yo, what's up? Like,
and then there it is. That moment that you have right there, right? Now it stops becoming about Greg Michael or stops becoming about the Stitch lifestyle. It becomes about Bruce Allen experience. And then that, for me, takes on so much more depth. That takes on so much more character. And that is so much more invigorating than anything that it is I may produce. And that's where the magic happens. That's where truly I get the appreciation. Because when it becomes about Bruce Allen, it becomes something that I can't conceive. It evolves in front of you, you know? And then we explore together, you know, as a guide maybe, or even if you just completely just take off in this realm, it creates something well beyond my imagination, you know? And it imprints upon you, just like anything else. This experience for me, for example, will imprint upon me dramatically because this will be a first. You know?
That's an interesting concept, the whole idea of imprinting on someone. Seems like something you've thought about a lot.
Yes. I get really introspective at times. So,
yeah.
You know, providing whiskey, of course, messes around makes that a lot more.
I know, man. I wish I had a bunch of whiskey and like.
It's okay. We will do that again.
Yeah.
We'll make sure we have that everything. So I am your consummate concierge. So.
Don't worry, man. I'm working on it. Like the dream for this podcast one day would have like its own like room, almost like Joe Rogan's, where it's like this cool room with like knickknacks. It feels like you're in someone's basement, like a little smoky. You could smoke a cigar, you could drink. Like,
and Joe Rogan's a funny person, man. Oh my God, his comedy show was hilarious.
Oh, you saw him? You saw him do comedy?
Yes, it was priceless. His skit on Brock Lesnar had me on the floor, on the floor.
I don't think I've heard that one. I've only seen his recent special. I haven't seen him live or anything.
Oh my God, man. So of course, I'm not going to get all into it. You know what I mean? But this is a person that spent some time around this person, okay? Like he's angry. He's angry in Brock Lesnar's tone and voice, doing something and saying something that you could really see Brock Lesnar doing, okay? Like he's sitting over there like, and it was so funny. He's like, he asked him a question and everything. He's just like, what? I haven't eaten today. What'd you say about me? You know, it's just like all these type of things. You can see like Brock being angry like that because that's what you think of him as a UFC fighter. As
Hell yeah, you imagine Brock Lesnar being this giant dude walking around just like, get the fuck out my way.
Right. He could sit over there and hump you if you wanted to.
Dude, the guy's got have you seen his chest tattoo?
Yep.
It's like a hand holding what is it? Holding a knife.
Right. Like, what do you say to
brass
that?
knuckles on the knife?
Like right in between the pecs, you know?
Like you see that, you're like, this guy might snap my neck.
He might do more than that, you know? So he might just
you.
take pieces of each one and everything and like knit a sweater out of what's left of you. So, and that's just so funny. And Joe Rogan is relatable. He's relatable. That's why his platform is so successful.
Dude, he's the voice of the people. I honestly think. I think he's the new voice of the people. I was watching his, did you see what he was doing yesterday? Dude, he had on Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, their like lawyer, legal person / like person who makes up the rules and stuff. And then they had this guy named Tim Pool, who is a journalist who's calling them out about their like leftist bias. And I was like, this is insane. Like these are conversations that you don't get on the news.
And they're intense.
Dude, I mean, Tim Pool just completely made amazing points that were on everybody's mind.
Right.
And you're just like, thank you. Like,
and it's stuff you can't say in a traditional mainstream way. And that's what makes it so invigorating. But you got to be there.
But even this, that's why I love this, because we can have these open conversations and I can have someone like you on the podcast and we can just talk about like how the hell you became this person or how the hell is what you do, like, and your ideas on stuff.
Oh, well, with that being said, going further into that, became a Jay Hilburn independent personal stylist. And I just after I had my first, training, introduction, and everything else, it just blew my mind. What I understood about clothing, completely unsatisfactory to what it is that the business was. You know, I forever was just going in, and I've been this size for the most part, pretty much my whole life. I'm sitting here in a jacket that's way too big, doesn't fit in the shoulders. You know, I have no mastery really of color. You know, I'm putting things together or whatever in patterns that are just conflictory with each other, you know, all these different things that just don't work. And opening up that, exposing yourself to more knowledge, you know, just gave you so much more perspective. And it was just like a light bulb went off. And I just dove into it, you know?
Really?
Yeah, really, you know?
That like unlocked the creative fashion tutorialism in you?
So much so. Because you have a foundation at that point, you know? It opens you up to a completely different world. And the thing about it is that this business, this industry hasn't changed dramatically, aside from the new bespoke movement that happened around the 50s, you know? It hasn't really changed in 2,700 years. A suit, for example, is coming from a military garment, you know?
Really?
Yes. So any business suit that you have or suit is in general is either for military-inspired regalia, watered down and everything for everyday use, or hunting regalia, watered down and everything for functionality and any exploit that's not hunting. You know? It's all inspired and everything by the formality of a military garment.
So you're saying the idea that you, like what you're wearing now came from that?
Yes.
Whoa.
It's just a amalgamation or, you know, watering down of standard military regalia.
Do you know how that happened by any chance? Like how that
Necessity.
sort of transition, really?
Complete necessity. So uniformity is something that you'll see a lot, especially when you get to the higher levels of this. You know, the reason we have black tie, for example, is to express conformity.
It does feel like a very conforming thing.
Everybody's in a black suit, tuxedo, okay? Everybody has the exact same satin or gross grain lapel, okay? You're wearing a bow tie a lot of times, whether it be a wing collar or if it's a spread collar. You know, maybe you have a cummerbund, maybe you don't. Everybody has a bib, okay? But that's the thing. That conformity is unilateral. It's an aesthetic that's meant to be maintained, and it also takes away any type of power dynamic in the room.
That is true. I noticed that. Dude, that's interesting you said, because I was literally thinking about this experience I recently had where I had to rent a suit, of course, and it was a black tie function. And so my uncle, he owns a construction company. They make a lot of money.
Solid.
He intertwines, or he mixes with a lot of the big boys, and people who make a lot of money. And so this is one of those dinners where it's like, you pretty much donate a lot of money to get a table and show face. And that's what it was. This is in DC, right? And so that conformity and how you said it kind of evens the power level playing field. Like it really felt like that. Like no one knew you couldn't tell by how you were dressed who I was, how much money I made, how much money that made, who the boss was, who's CEO. And don't get me wrong, you could tell by someone's swag, you know, if they own something. But like, what were you gonna say about that?
No, I'm saying that there it is.
Yeah.
There and there. It becomes about who you really are at that point. Okay. It becomes about who you are. Complete equity, you know, completely equidistant from the next person all the way around. They're forced to talk to you. They're forced to see what you're about. Because you look just like this guy.
Because they can't judge you just by how you look.
No, you know? Now, when it comes down to certain things, especially if you're, you know, fairly nuanced, you know, you can tell somebody's suit that's better than the other one if you know what to look for.
Of course.
But in essence, everybody's in black.
Yep.
Everybody's black tie.
Yep.
So it becomes about your personality. And like you said, nobody knew if, hey, you were the CEO of this or you were a magnanimous person that until you opened your mouth. You know?
Then you can kind of estimate who this person is.
Exactly. So with that, the experience that I had with joining Jay Hilburn, for example, it just opened me up to how you have a smart look and how you create something that is going to be as rakishly elegant 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 50 years from now, as the day it is you bought it. And that's where this really becomes special, is because style doesn't change or is not subject to trend as much as the fashion industry is.
Yeah, style and fashion trends are 100% two different things.
Totally. You can create something today. I'll be able to wear this when I'm 50.
True.
You know? Now, yes, do I have certain embellishments that take advantage of the modernity and, my age, et cetera, et cetera.
Your
Yes.
personal taste will change it, which might have been influenced by the recent fashions or whatever, but like,
Right. But it doesn't change how good it looks still. You can break out, and that's where the whole thrifting thing really comes into play as well now, too. Which
dude,
is a really
thrifting
big
is
thing.
crazy now.
It is crazy now.
How does that come into play in your industry?
Well, mainly because that same tweed jacket that was made in the 30s is still just as stylish as it would be today.
it still looks pretty good most of the time, too.
Yes, it's exceptionally well crafted, and it's been taken care of. And I can throw that on right now. I can go out here and, hit Busboys and Poets or go down to City Center and, wow, that's put together. It's appropriate. It's never going anywhere. And that's why thrifting just blew up, especially recently, because this stuff is great.
I feel like thrifting's had a huge resurgence recently.
Huge.
I don't know how much it has in your industry in the like menswear, fine menswear. What is the right term for it?
Well, yes, finer menswear.
Yeah,
That'll work.
yeah. In that industry, I guess it's the same way it maybe has resonated with like streetwear and t-shirts and all that stuff.
I truly do believe that my industry is in the resurgence of it. It being so much in the forefront is what has allowed thrifting to really blossom the way it is.
Really?
Because, period, if I go find some Harris tweed, okay, that authentically done Harris tweed, okay, that was from like, the 50s and everything, this older, thinner guy and everything that's about my build, end up having it created, just on a whim somehow, and it fits me, then it has a heritage behind it. It has a story behind it. It's still pristine, and the clothing is meant to last that test of time, And that's where you get this stuff from. If you get a 1920s boater, for example, right? That's all the rage when we go into this spring right now, especially for Cherry Blossom Festival.
A boulder?
Boater. A
Boater. A
Yep.
boater jacket?
No, the hat.
Oh, what does that look like?
Oh, have you ever seen The Great Gatsby?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
All through that movie, all through that movie. But that's the thing. If I had an authentic one from the 20s, it's still going to look just as good and everything today.
Ah, okay.
I just got to go find a place that has that somewhere. Maybe I get a great price on it. Probably will get a great price on it because how thrifting is.
So you still go thrifting, I imagine.
Actually, I'm no good at it, but I do. I get.
Dude, same
by.
here. I'm so trash at thrifting.
I know.
I get aggravated too sometimes.
Yeah.
I kind of feel a little poor, and I'm just like, oh, like it smells like the homeless shelter.
Yeah. That happens.
I mean, shout out to people who do it. Like I have a bunch of friends who have like thrifting companies. I mean, that's such a hustle.
Yeah.
But like, I just cannot do it. But on the same token, like, I think thrifting, like we said, has come back full swing. They're even making new garments look thrifted, which is insane.
Yep.
But I think a lot of it is because of how the fashion industry has gotten to be. Like, we've become to this point where we have so much clothes, so much fashion. There's literally warehouses where you can go and buy by the pound that of course someone's going to find a hustle off of it. Of course something's going to find someone they like. So it's like this huge recycling industry. It's nuts.
And that's a really important theme that one of my friends actually speaks about very, very passionately. Sustainable fashion, something that's not going to either harm your environment or harm the industry as a whole. Just, people go with a trend and create a billion pieces of it, but then that trend is over just as quickly as it started. And then where's that stuff go? It just becomes trash or it just becomes whatever. We're sustainable because this can work for anybody in any type of expression. I mean, that's just how it is, you know? And it is timeless because it's not going to go anywhere, Scabal, Dorme, Vitali Barberis, Canonico, okay? Your Holland and Sherry cloth. These guys have been around for centuries. Okay, centuries milling cloth. This is not a fly-by-night phenomenon.
And I've never even heard of most of those people, but they're probably legends, I'm guessing, in your industry.
So, completely essential. And that's another thing, the name behind the names, which is one thing that Scabal actually goes above and beyond to make sure that they espouse, is that your favorite designers have to get their materials from somewhere. And that's that, You'd be surprised, and I'm not going to go into all of, the people that use whatever and everything or how certain...
Can we do one, though? I'm kind of curious.
Of course. So everybody loves Zegna, right?
Who?
Everybody loves Zegna, right?
Yeah.
Right. So who is their exclusive cloth distiller.
Yeah, who makes their
Skabal.
fabric?
Zegna Skabal.
Oh,
Everything.
they're the ones that weave together that fabric, those textures.
Everything, if you wearing it from Zegna, it's Skabal cloth.
And I know that's very important, and that's also very kept close to the heart with a lot of these people. Because when I had Davin on here, who is a shirt designer, or not fashion designer, not to say shirt designer, he's hush hush who he gets his materials from, who he's sourcing from, who's where he's washing these things and stuff like that. And so I imagine with suits, it's got to be on a whole nother level.
Well, actually, no, because this industry has been around so much. Like anybody, like for example, I can sit here and tell you exactly what this is. This right here is a Mars only cloth. Okay, 1200 class and everything from our M11 collection and everything for their spring summer 2017.
Jesus,
at a general cloth weight of about 8 1/8 ounces. Okay,
Jesus.
about 220, 230 grams. And you'd be able to find this exact swatch right online or in somebody else's haberdashery, whether it be stitched, whether it be any of the other ateliers that are in the city. And you could make this suit, Now, that's the thing. At this level, it is well known.
It's a lot of transparency.
Yes, a lot of transparency. So, but that's also where I guess the versatility comes in. I can hit anybody's front street, which is what we call a sales floor in the business. I can hit anybody's front street and still be just as viable as it is in my haberdashery because materials are all the same. Fitting is all the same. Just understanding how your construction process is and how it is you go about putting everything together as far as orders is that's it.
Yeah, but in your business, it's like there's many pieces. You have a jacket, a vest, a shirt, a tie, a pant. Like it's not just top and bottom.
No, not at all. And there are rules. There are rules. And that's the difference between a stylist and an arbiter, for example. I am held to a certain standard, and there's rules that I absolutely have to employ.
Whose standard? What's standard?
The order standard. So, for example, I am a member of the Coalition of Designers and Tailors Association. So going on my 5th year now. So, but Savile Row, has dictated what finer menswear looks like for centuries. Savile Row.
Savile Row.
Savile Row. Yep.
Savile Row.
In London. Yep. A nice little 4-block strip of the finest men's haberdasheries, ateliers, and tailors.
That's the mecca of menswear fashion.
Mecca.
And where?
In London.
In London, Savile Row. So you're telling me Savile Row, whatever they decide is like law with suits, that is it.
Law.
Why is that?
Indisputable.
Why? This is crazy. I never knew this.
You see my enthusiasm.
That's why I love having interesting people like you on the show, man.
Yeah, man.
So have you been there?
Yes, once. And I would love to go back again. In fact, big kudos to Andrew Ramroop of Maurice Sedwell. So I will endlessly appreciate you and the audience that you afforded me, sir. But Savile Row dictates everything that's essential to our business.
Really?
The finest tailors in the world, are located on the row.
Whoa.
These are people that have decades of experience, generations of experience, The materials, the cloth, the way that it is they construct, all of these things are time-honored traditions, a lot of which you can't even go to a regular university and be able to learn. There's so much hands-on knowledge in people's hands, is a history.
Like they couldn't show you why they do that. They just kind of do it, and then you're just amazed by it kind of thing.
You have to literally have the experience to be able to do so. Whoa. And they are professional, consummate professionals. They are able to assess you in real time and provide you with a truly complimentary custom experience. White glove service in excess.
Really? So it's not just a suit, it's the whole, because it seems like it's very not experience driven. It kind of puts you in that mindset of you're about to experience hundreds of years, that maybe thousands of years of preparation and expertise that this guy's about to deliver to you that fit on your,
exactly.
It's like a fine wine in a way.
Yes. And furthermore, you go there because you know. You don't just randomly go to Savile Row. No, exactly. Like for example, this is your first interaction with it and everything, with the theme. you go because you know? So you have an idea of what to expect. And then the second you walk through any haberdashery's door, you experience it firsthand and it completely blows your mind. So everybody's seen the movie Kingsman, right?
The Kingsman?
Yes.
Yeah. The spy movie.
Yeah, exactly. That haberdashery that you see in there is actually Huntsman on the row.
Oh, so that's a store.
That's a real place.
Oh.
That's a real place.
That's a real place on Savile Row.
That's a real place. As in, you can walk in and you'll see a lot of things that you saw in that movie.
That's interesting.
Right.
It's interesting that they chose that spot.
Because they know.
So then I guess essentially you're saying it all comes from London. The suit culture, this gentlemanly suit culture.
Well, that is true in a way, but the Italians have had oh my goodness, it's multifaceted. So, for example, you have your traditional British suit that's very structured, very sharp, very angled shoulders, you know, very heavy fabrics and everything, very functional, very formal, very utilitarian, you know. Then you have the, you know, distinct American tailoring, which is where we get the American sack suit from. Looser fit, more natural shoulders a lot of time too, meant for the working man, you know, espousing values that are really critical to, you know, an American as it is as a whole. Then you have the Italians and everything, and Neapolitan suits and stuff, and Italian cut suits that are, you know, slimmer. They are made with lighter cloth and fabrics because it's warmer, of course, there, you know, that the atmosphere and the environment is different, you know. They really accentuate, you know, a very strong chest, a very tapered waistline. Suppression in the waist is extremely important. You know, fit is really over there. And then you have new themes that have come in there. Another big mecca of our industry and everything is over in Japan. Very much so, just like with denim and everything else.
I'm not surprised though, because they take everything to the next level. Like any art or practice, Japanese people have like a interesting approach to it. That's just, they do this one thing exceptionally well.
Sartoria has exploded, okay, from the land of the rising sun.
Yeah.
Exploded. And in fact, some of the best things you'll see actually now, so more so coming everything from, you know, Asian countries or, you know, the Asian continent more than anything else. Like they really know.
Dude, I saw this like mini documentary series where this, God, I wish I was better with names, but it's like this Filipino clothing designer from New York. He explores every certain facets of the fashion industry, and he talks about denim. And he goes, we have to check out blue denim in Japan. So they go to Japan and they go to this one store where like every pair of jeans is like $600, which blows your mind at first, blows my mind. But then when you start to break it down, he takes you to like the textile where one guy makes textiles. Then he takes you to the guy who's probably the most important. He spins it, but he's also the dyer. Like it was insane. Like it's like just two people, like a couple people in this place. They've got a vat of blue and there's like different shades of blue. Like the guy's experience on just the color blue.
Yep.
And how many times he has to rinse, how many times he has to dunk, how many times he has to sit was insane. And when you went back to that store, you were like, okay, I will totally spend $600 on a pair of pants.
Because it infused culture into it.
You feel connected to it almost.
Exactly. And that is what really gives people the esteem that they have for this industry, is because it does have culture. It does have identity. It does have a purpose. It resonates with you once you experience it, once you see, once you're aware of it. And then you are able to experience it in ways that you're able to understand. You don't just get, oh, this right here is extremely popular, so you should mess around and buy it. No, this is what we went through to make this. This is how many people have trained for their entire lives, okay, to be able to present you with something like this. This is how many different individuals' lives are impacted and their livelihoods are made. Food is put on the table by doing this craft. And it's been done this way for many, many years. It infuses culture into what you're wearing.
That's interesting, and that's so beautiful, but there's a sad sort of thing about that where someone still only wears, most people aren't like you where they wear it every day. Some people might only wear that suit once or twice a year.
That is true. That is true. And that's why there's different levels, you know, that are available here. But once again, when you know better, you do better.
True.
You know? So, and that's what I go above and beyond to be able to express. You know, I give you the whys behind what you're doing. You know, we're not just going for a look here. We're going to give you a reason for why you're wearing this.
No, it's super important. 'Cause I mean, when you pay all money for anything, it's the experience and the culture that you want to get. When you tell someone this cloth was made like this by this family in this place, and you feel connected to it, and you almost feel like you can pass it on when you get it.
Right. And it's putting a nice little idea in your head that can blossom into a couple of different things. So to get back to that, I spent about 5 years, about 5 years and everything as an personal stylist. And one thing I tell people all the time too, and this I really want to highlight, arbiters, tailors as a whole and everything don't make a lot of money compared to the people that we serve. You know, they're like, for example, and everything, if you get a Keton K50, that's a $50,000 suit. Okay. Imagine the type of individual you have to be, the type of liquidity you have to have. Okay.
To buy a $50,000 suit as opposed to putting that towards your house or something.
Right. You know, now, mind you, as the individual creating that, do I make as much money as that individual? No, nowhere close. So even my mentor, Mr. Ramroop, has said, it's like, there's by no means do I make the type of income and everything that I'm able to afford to buy a propensity amount of my suits. You know, I am because of the amount of time it is that I've spent in my craft, I am very successful in it. But by no means am I anywhere close to the people it is I serve.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it makes sense that you guys would have tons of suits the same way it makes sense that a chef eats the food that he probably can't afford to buy the plates of every night, you know, at a fine restaurant. Right. Of course you're going to get good food. Of course you're going to get some suits here and there. You know, it makes sense.
Right. You know, and that's where it becomes egoless, you know? That's where it becomes a situation where you have to take your preconceived notions out of the equation. And I tell people all the time is that when I started in this business, it's personal sacrifice as well, too, just like anything, just like even your platform, you know, this all has an expense. Yeah. Before you created all this and, you know, made your platform, made your, you know, cut your teeth in your industry, you know, you had to, you know, do a couple of things and everything free, or host a couple of different things, or create some content to bring people over.
Dude, I worked for free for over a year.
Exactly. I lost money in my industry. And in fact, until like 2 years ago, I was still losing money in this industry.
How? You're selling these amazing suits.
Yes, but you have to, one, have the network.
True.
You know, you got to have the people that can afford the price point.
That's very true. DC is one of the top 2 richest cities in the world. So, in America.
Yes.
I don't want to say world. I'm probably wrong there.
Well, even with that being said, you're right. But even then, we're dealing with like the upper 5 percentile of shoppers, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's to walk in my haberdashery right there. Yes, we do have varying price points. Hey, you can feel included. So, but, you know, it starts at $19.95, $2,000. You know, that's where we start.
Yeah.
Imagine if you wanted to completely do a new wardrobe. There you go. You know, but, you know, that upper 5 percentile is, you know, real. And the thing about it is you have to know what you're talking about to these people as well, too. And when I first started and everything, I didn't know everything that I needed to know and everything about the differences between a Prince of Wales and a regular Glen Plaid. I didn't know enhanced levels of drape. I didn't know different shoulders, the way that we do that, whether it be roped or natural or pagoda or anything like that, or how to be able to style specific to industry, you know, or to be able to create a garment that was better for travel, you know, that was a lot more durable than something that had a finer hand.
You think on so many levels for just this one person's use and needs. That's what makes you an expert at what you do. You know, it's not like a waiting job where you just learn a menu. This is something that takes years and years of knowledge and putting work into, like.
And I have invested a lot of my time, a lot of my energy, my health, and my finances to this. And yes, I have become a lot more successful in the last 2 years, especially. But no, I lost money the majority of my time in the industry.
Wow.
Because you have to pay to play, number one. Number two, you have to learn, you know, and you have to incorporate elements to be able to build your knowledge. And then you have to have that functional experience. You have to actually make one, you know, and then make another. If you have a guy that comes in 6'5" and 320, you have to know how to deal with that, but you can only do that if you're in it. You know, you have a guy and everything that's 5'5" or whatever, and he weighs 400 pounds, or you have a guy that's 4'11" and everything, and he's 101, soaking wet. You have to have done it, you know? Now, yes, there are things that you can read and there are proportions that are available that can kind of help you, but you have to have done
Nothing
it.
same in like field experience.
Right.
You can read about everything as much as you want, but until you've actually done it, until you've taken that punch in the face, until you've gotten your feet wet, speculating can only get you so far.
Exactly. So it takes a lot, you know? And back to what we were saying before, I spent 23 days preparing for 4 days of work.
What do you mean?
As in, I spend 23 days studying cloth that comes in, making sure that, you know, cloth that is out, that's no longer available, can be milled and everything is curated out of the program, you know, putting patterns and stuff together, being able to see how different construction elements will play on different body types, understanding slope of shoulder definitions and how to be able to accommodate for that, people's different proportions in arm length, or, you know, if somebody happens to have a hunchback or it has any other type of deformity, how you would minimize that look, you know, how barrel chest it comes.
So what are the 4 days?
Those 4 days are actually making the product for an individual.
Oh,
that consultation.
So first day they come in, second day. Okay.
23 days to make sure that when that person, you have that appointment, that you're on point.
Oh, that's like the run up to it.
Like practicing in the gym before you have the big game. That's really what it is, you know? And I will, because at the end of the day, this person is coming in for their first consultation. I don't know what they're going to say. I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe we've met beforehand. Maybe we haven't. Maybe he saw me on Instagram. Maybe he knows the company and everything proper. Maybe
Did you research on him at all?
Yes, you have to.
Yeah.
To be thorough.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you have to you know, the scope. That's just my process.
Yeah. No, but I think that's more appreciated than it would be if you were to look at negatively. The fact that you care that much. It's like what you're doing is not just a flash in the pan gig.
Yes.
You know, it's like what you're doing is like, this is a career sort of idea. And but look, I know nothing's ever permanent. No one ever stays in stasis. You know, everyone's always moving forward. But it's like what you're doing. It's like you're deep in it. You're deep in that.
Very much so. Very much so. It has become a very, very, very critical part of my life.
Over here, juuling like a madman.
Hey, man, now that's
you're
one
on that
thing
jewel
about
life?
it too. Boy, I'm on that. Like, I am a chain smoker, folks. Okay, I am a chain smoker. So, believe it or not, up at 7 a.m. every day. Don't go to bed until about 1, 2. No, excuse me. Don't get in the house until about 1, 2 a.m. in life. And then I might get that great call from Vegas. Hi. And then we're back to work again.
What do you mean, a great call from Vegas?
We actually, Stitched was founded in the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas. That's home base.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's like always in hotels and casinos.
Well, yes, that's actually the majority.
What is
But-
this Stitch? You keep talking about Stitched.
Oh, Stitch is a haberdashery. So this is where this great suit came from. So,
Haberdashery is a place where they make suits? Or?
yes.
Okay.
So, and actually where you can get a varied amount of regalia. So for, you know, the traditional haberdashery was really based in the frontier life. So you went to a haberdashery to be able to outfit yourself for the wild, for hunting, for traveling, you know, across the country, et cetera, et cetera. And you get all your wares. You'd be able to get your hats. You'd be able to get your, you know, jackets, your coats, your gloves, your everything, you know, scents and stuff and everything to be able to, you know, stain your gloves or to be able to just take care of, you know, your personal appearance, shaving gear, you know, candy and stuff for the long rides, meats, everything like that. It was completely outfitting you for where you're going.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Because like it's one of those words that you hear, but you never have clarified. It just sounds really nice.
And with us, Stitch was founded in the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas. We are extremely adept at giving you the perfect drape. So the companies that I work for makes an exceptional garment because they do understand that they are definitively and authentically Las Vegas in nature. And our owner, Eamon Springall, has a very trained eye in what success looks like and what being dynamic, charismatic, having a little bit of braggadocio, of course, is about, you know, and how to be able to make that come through in your clothes, to be able to provide you with a ambiance of gentlemanly candor, with those subtle hints of irreverence that shock and awe you, you know? And mind you, this is a very successful man in and of his own right. So 40 on 40 recipient, 30 on 30 recipient, okay? Extremely adept at being able to build relationships, has been in the insurance industry of Vegas for the top hotels and casinos in Vegas and everything for many, many years. Multi-millionaire and everything at 18.
Whoa.
Okay? Multi-millionaire at 18.
Who is this man?
Eamon Springall.
Eamon Springall.
Yes. So
seems like a serial entrepreneur too. Like,
so much so.
Seems like it's like crazy gentlemanly like guy. This is insane.
But approachable. One of the funniest guys that you'll ever meet. And then furthermore, okay, he was approached by the casinos in Vegas because he's a native Las Vegas. Okay. He's lived there his whole life. Went to UNLV and everything, graduated with honors, all of that. He was approached by the individuals that ran the casinos and the hotels in Vegas to bring a menswear experience to Las Vegas that was completely palatable to natives, something that the people that have lived in Vegas their entire life would be able to understand, be like, oh yeah, this is us. Yeah. This looks like us. This feels like us. But would be able to bring that lifestyle, that aesthetic, those philosophies to everybody that visits Vegas as well too. You know?
Don't mind the banging, by the way.
Not a problem at all.
I don't think they can hear it on here. Just when you're in a studio like this, you'll hear some weird shit.
It's all right. I like it, man. It's once again, it's real. You know? I like it when it's real.
I mean, if she keeps banging, I might have to go drop kick her a little bit.
Hey, that's okay. I'll follow up. You know? So that's how that goes.
No, but as you're saying,
yes. So he pondered over this. Okay. Wildly successful man, very well dressed man, almost 10 years now and everything going and everything, has been the best dressed man in Vegas, you know?
Whoa.
And mind you, the man's only 41.
But you make it sound like he's like 60, 70-year-old
only
guy.
41, man. Whoa. And to be honest and everything, I could be wrong. You know, it's been a long night, but he's not that old at all. But approached by the big wigs in Vegas, the people that really run things, make us something that says that this is us, but that everybody in here can understand. So he sat down with major brands and everything. I'm not going to get into those brands, of course, but major, couture houses.
Wow.
And wanted to bring something that was still going to be able to speak to people that lived in Vegas, but still was authentic. Spent 2 years running the numbers, big numbers guy, okay? Until it just dawned on him, I could just do this myself. And that's where you end up getting the Longhorn that we have in our location. That's right above, the cash wrap with the bow tie and the big 3D big 3D book of butts, okay, that we have in our location right next to our whiskey lockers.
Hey, butts say a lot about a person, man.
Don't they, though?
Butts are interesting.
Absolutely. And, you'll have your Basil Haydens in there. And then on the other side, you'll have like a bowl of stitched condoms,
Whoa.
So it's irreverence. It's meant to be like, this can appeal to anybody and everybody on any level. It's not campy, but it's fun.
Yeah.
You know?
I can see how that could come across very cliche and campy, almost like corny in a way, but it has to come off very sincere.
Yep.
To buy into it.
We have a picture of Fred Astaire in the corner as well as Andy Warhol. We have a big motorcycle in the middle of the haberdashery. That works, okay?
Damn.
Just completely stitched out all the way through. And then you have a formal tuxedo and everything that may cost $7,000 right now.
No big deal, right?
Right. It's those mix of themes, something for everybody, but we're still us.
It's so interesting that, everything everything you do, that you're employed by someone. I think most people listening and myself, I would almost think that I thought you owned the company.
Well, and I say this again, I am just a simple arbiter. Mm-hmm. I tell people all the time, hey, don't believe the hype. I'm just a regular guy. I just really love what it is that I do. And there's been times and everything where I've worked in industries where I didn't love what it is I do, but it paid the bills, But I believe in what it is that I do. And I believe in the company it is that I work for. Everything has, it's hard times. Not everything is always lollipops and gumdrops.
No way.
Of course not.
Dude, 100% no.
But the philosophy that we have with my brand, Stitch Life, okay, it gives you something that truly in D.C. is completely unique and that we need, okay? The second that you walk into our store, you feel it, There's no other atelier in the city that gives you the experience that we give you just from you walking in the door. Okay.
The vibes,
okay?
The vibes.
Yep. And you can be that. We want creatives. We want people that are inspired by what they see. We want traditional sartorialists, and we can very aptly take care of them. But we want that guy that's never been at that level before, Mm-hmm. You'll sit there and have very bland two-piece pinstripe, And then you'll have a floral that will be in like lavender and jacquards all the way through with a shawl collar that may be like 5 inches long, you know?
But DC definitely has the culture that could support what you guys are doing, or that goes perfectly. If there ever was a city I could think of, it'd probably be DC, New York, let alone DC more because of how political it is. But it seems like the political guys they would never wear stripes and stuff. At least from what I noticed, it always seems to be very blue, red tie, power suit. Interesting question. What do you think of Trump's suits?
Okay. Here's the truth. Okay? And I hope now that I don't get any type of, let's not politicize this now.
No,
But Trump has a good suit.
He's got a good suit?
He has a good suit, especially given his build.
Good or a great suit?
He has a good suit.
Good suit.
Because at the end of the day, it does kind of boil down to what your body looks like to a degree.
I'm sure he's a little flappy under there.
A little
he's
bit.
He's an older guy.
He only eats McDonald's and KFC and, he only eats fast food. So
do you see how when he has basketball teams come over, he gives them McDonald's and Chick-fil-A, which is like the last thing those guys eat.
Once again, he's being him.
He keeps it real.
He is keeping it real. But his suits are great. Actually, but it does, of course, me being technical, he is one of the best. He is one of the best dressed presidents,
Wow.
Period.
Really?
Hands down. Yes.
I would not guess that.
Hands down, he is literally one of the best dressed presidents.
What makes you say that? It seems like he's always in the same suit.
Yes, but just like most presidents are,
True.
You got to understand, they lambasted Barack Obama for wearing a tan suit during the State of the Union address.
Did they?
They cut him to pieces for
What?
that. It's just not done. It's just not,
I feel like people would freak out, or they would feel some certain way if they saw, just in a tan suit, you said, but like, let alone if he came up in a blue striped suit or anything, or a tweed suit or something like that.
It would be looked at as tactless, And once again, that's knowing the rules. You're the president of the United States. You got to know what it is you're supposed to wear, But even then, was that something that was, not supposed to wear? It was just atypical. It had not been done by any of his predecessors. Most of the time, it's going to be, different shades of navy and a lighter or darker spectrum.
It's always blue.
Yeah, always, But that's just what it is. The only person that really even played around with that a little bit before what we saw with Barack was JFK, Carter too, but, But yes, his suits are great.
What about that red power tie? What do you think about that?
You kind of have to do it because once again, it's good old USFA, So
no, but like that was specifically people were drawing, like they were like his red power tie, and in a way, it's like red has become the symbol of like white masculinity or something, like in a really interesting way.
Let's look at that color, for example, and I go with this with people a while too. So. What is that color? Red. It's a color of dominance. Yes, it's a color of battle. Scarlet exactly.
An aggressive color.
It is very aggressive.
Bulls
color.
get pissed off, and show you how nature reacts to it.
Exactly. Where do you see reds? Fire. Magma, extremes.
That's interesting. Yeah. Where does it naturally occur? Yeah.
Right. And mind you, even with the extremes of it, you can even take it a little bit more philosophically speaking. Roses are associated with love, right? Amorous love. What do you give somebody if you're in love with them as far as a rose color? Red, right?
It's pretty extreme, though. Love is kind of extreme. If you like love.
Yes. The color red is associated with extremes, Just like black is associated with the lack of those extremes. White is associated with purity, vibrance, new life, illumination. Things like that.
And death in some cultures too.
Yes. These right here influence, especially when you wear certain things, they influence people's perceptions of your position and your mentality.
Do you think subconsciously or consciously?
Subconsciously. And that is where my artistry comes in, because you use those subtle themes to be able to control a person's responsiveness to you. Okay? If you have a personality that is over the top, okay? You don't really need colors, okay, that are going to embellish that. So somebody that would be, a character, okay? And they've normally been dressing in, wild shades and everything of reds and pinks and greens and this and everything else. I'm like, okay, well, not only are you instantly letting somebody know right in the beginning that you're a hammer to the face, but everything that they experience with you before they even get close enough to hear you speak they're already putting you in a certain category. They're already expecting a certain thing from you. They've already judged you, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. So in some ways, you've kind of robbed yourself of that power, you know, that you
by
have in your
dressing
personality.
so flamboyantly colorful.
Yes.
Huh.
And especially if you're trying to be taken seriously, or if you have a message to be able to convey, you might want to be able to retain all of your assets.
Yeah. For some reason, someone wearing all pink and yellow who's trying to have a serious conversation with you doesn't make sense. I heard a statement the other day. They're like, "You really gonna show up in a business meeting with a yellow laptop cover?" And that kind of rang in my head. And I was like, when I was younger, I had a yellow laptop cover. But when I think about it in context, it's like there is some weird truth that even though it's just a color, it's just a freaking color. It kind of says something.
It does, and that's the thing. You don't want to put the cart before the horse. For example, you don't want to rob yourself of an experience or of a connection or anything else just because you wore the inappropriate thing. And not only that, sometimes you do want a little bit of mystery. Sometimes you want to be able to be the person that dictates the platform in which you present yourself to the world. So a lot of times, if you have an overly boisterous personality, I do put you in more muted colors so that can be a surprise.
That's interesting. Yeah. As opposed to matching it, you tone that back. So that way when they say, oh, okay.
Right. So when you open your mouth, you still are dictating the pace, you know? Say you are reserved, but you happen to be the person that is in charge of said event or, you know, company or whatever, you know? Maybe I will put you in powerful colors, you know? So that the words that it is you have, they're already incorporating when they see you and everything. Okay, this person is important. Everything that this person says or does is going to have weight. They're going to analyze you more. So they're going to focus more in to what it is that you're saying and what it is you're doing because they've already assessed you as a person of importance. Because we put you in that power suit pinstripe that has the red deco, or we're sitting over there using a herringbone and everything that has a subtle luster, and that's so they have to approach you to be able to see the definition in the suit, you know?
Well, in a lot of ways, the way you dress says a lot about your knowledge and whatever you do. Like sometimes I feel like as someone who wants to be a serious fashion photographer, like I should dress a certain way. I'm not too sure what that way is, but I'm in my mind, it's like I'm wearing like designer shit or something. Like I'm wearing really nice everything so that you'd look at me like I can probably take a good photo and, you know, and he knows what he's talking about. The same way I look at you, like, he definitely knows what he's talking about. You know, the same way if your barber has a bad haircut, you're like,
exactly.
Or if or that old saying, if your barber's bald, you probably shouldn't trust him to cut your hair.
Probably not. You know, you can do one thing pretty well, but it wouldn't be what you need.
But you get what I'm saying? Like it's just there's that correlation. Even though someone could say, oh, I could, you know, not wear any makeup and be the world's best makeup artist. It's kind of like you're kind of thinking like, well, there's something still kind of weird about that,
right? And that's the thing about it is that perception. I am a big proponent of perception is not always reality, but the fact about it is we live in a real world. You know, sometimes you have to employ these things. So, and even with yourself, right? This is why you would come to somebody like me, you know, because we're going to make it about you. We're going to do it your way.
What do you mean you only wear suits? I'm not going to wear suits, bro. What do you mean? I can't crouch and hit these crazy crouch angles in a suit. What do you mean?
Let me tell you something, right? What if I told you, and this is actually very recent, okay? What if I told you that I could give you a bespoke suit that you could take on the go with you and throw in a washing machine? A washing machine is your regular laundromat. Take it right out of the laundry and everything, right then and there. Let it air dry, and you're right back on the go. No wrinkles, still drapes appropriately, stills on the go, functional, everything, not one stitch or one piece of cloth out of place. And you can just throw that in your washing machine when you're done with it.
God damn it, take my money.
Right. That exists. Z from Zegna. You know? I would love to be able to show you the ad and everything a little bit later as well, too. You'd be like, and you'll look at this guy. He's wearing a hoodie and he's wearing like, you know, jeggings or like whatever you want to call it. And he has, you know, athletic shoes on. I think some Yeezys or something. And he throws that suit on and it's like, oh, that's cool. You know? Like, that's cool. And the thing is, we don't overthink this. You know? It's met on your terms. You know? Like I said in the beginning of this, I could throw a jacket on you right now and it's still you. You know?
True.
It's still you, you know? It's just now you have a finely tailored jacket on. And it doesn't even have to be known that you do, you know? People just respond to it however they're going to respond to it. And a lot of times that's positive. So And to go on, I guess, from where we are, is that me finding out all these things, me spending all that time and everything as an independent stylist, learning all these things, then I felt empowered. And then I realized that there are levels to this business as well, too. There's a big difference between made to order, made to measure, custom, and then bespoke.
Bespoke being the highest level.
Yes.
Okay.
And even in that, bespoke. Okay, there are two different levels and everything in that define its worthiness. Okay, so you have ultra bespoke, which is the best of the best, and you have semi bespoke. Okay, there are levels in this business, and when I found out that there were, I was like, okay, I have to push myself.
You seem like you'd want to be at ultra bespoke.
Very much so.
Why wouldn't you?
Very much so, but it's time honored. So I was initially doing made to measure with Jay Hilburn. Okay. And I needed more because the work that I was doing, the people that I was interfacing with, their skills were growing, their positions were elevating. I need to be able to provide them with more options. I need to be able to change lapel sizes. I need to be able to offer more things and everything, just a notch or a peak. I need to be able to do double breasted a certain way. I need to be able to do narrow collars. I need to be able to do trousers different ways, pleats or not. Different waistbands, different cuff sizes, things like that. Things that were beyond what that program at that point was able to do. Not taking anything away from that program, but my client.
But yeah, that was like the launching pad that got you to being at Stitch, now being this arbiter of elegance. Essentially, it's like,
yes, exactly, and it's very broad. You need tools to be able to do the highest order of work. And I sat there and I dove even further.
But you don't make suits. I think that's a distinction I don't think I asked. You don't make them. You just get it ready for production.
No. Actually, I do.
Oh, so you, whoa, okay.
Now, once again, this is the other part about it too. I'm an apprentice tailor as well too, have been for the last 3 years. But that's me being an apprentice tailor 3 years into a 10-year program. And then actually being in the field and getting that 10 to 15, 20 years of experience.
Is that where you want to be?
Yes.
You want to be hand making these suits and being able to
every facet, cutting from cut to construct, from front street to cut to construction to canvassing to everything.
I mean, that same sort of thing I was talking about where I saw the whole denim and everything. They went to a guy who, and I can't remember his name, but he was one of the highest levels of this menswear tailoring, and he only made like something crazy, like 4 suits a year or something like that. It was insane how little he made, but how much went into it.
Mm-hmm. And that's where we are, and that's really what it is. And the thing about it is you can't rush that process. Mm-hmm. I've been in this industry and everything for 10 years. Okay. But 7, 8 of those and everything was just learning.
So what's your opinion on the whole like menswear style blogger influencer? Because that's a really interesting, I'm sure you got some opinion on that, where, after having this crazy conversation with you, and I feel like I know a lot more, these guys who present these suits to the public and present themselves as like experts, I guess, of menswear style. What do you think about the whole culture, the whole blogger and style influencer culture? It's
essential, of course, to the business. I've learned a lot and everything from different menswear bloggers.
Because I've seen you work with some.
Yes.
Some friends of mine who are those guys.
Yes. So they're definitely essential to the culture. Yeah. They're definitely essential to pushing those themes. I tell people all the time, I'm not an influencer. I actually work in my industry. And if I am able to point you in a certain direction because you've seen something or you've heard something that has been on my social media scape or you've had an interaction with me, then awesome. But I don't do what it is that I do in the social media sphere or in the media sphere as a whole.
For likes and followers.
No, it's to be able to have out of maybe, 7,000 people that see some content I post, 3 of them and everything are actual buyers. And that's something that they're going to resonate to be like, okay, well, I know he knows what he's talking about and I have very specific requests. Let me seek him out. I do it for clients purely. Okay. I do it purely for clients. If I ever was working with another creative, a photographer, a videographer, et cetera, the purpose for this is not for me to be the medium or for me to mess around and grab 20K more followers or for me to be this quasi celebrity. No, it's meant to tell a story to get me more clientele, period.
You're not going back to your 9-to-5 job. putting on a suit, then going back to 9-to-5 job, which is in like marketing, you are in the industry.
Yes.
You know, what you're showing is who you are.
Right. I own every suit that you see in my
How many suits do you own? I'm just curious.
67 as it is right now at the bespoke level. Oh
my God.
67 at this point. Overall and everything, and I've acquired a couple of different pieces in the year and a half and everything that I've been in my haberdashery. So we're at like about 110 now. Dang. But you have to have this stuff because the difference is that when I'm walking down the street, I'm an advertisement for my brand.
No, it makes sense 100%.
Right. It's like you have to want to buy this, you know? So I have to have suits that are going to appeal to one demographic. I have to have suits that are going to appeal to another demographic. I have to show you in real life what it is you can get, you know? And then so you can bring an idea to me and be like, I need this, or I want this, or I want to see how we go about this. So it's a business expense. It's not because I just like looking good, you know?
So back on the whole like blogger, menswear influencer thing, it's like, it seems like they in some way bring attention to what you do. Like it seems like it's more of a plus than is like them watering down perhaps what you do.
Well, then that would be my issue, you know, is that you have influencers, you have bloggers, you have these guys that still do not incorporate the historiological aspect. Know what you're talking about, okay? Or better yet, if you're a fan of it, or if you're just getting into it, or if you don't have the level of understanding that is necessary to be able to talk about a certain theme, seek out those that do, you know, and use that to enhance your platform.
Dude, 100%. If I was a menswear style blogger who wore suits in some of my pictures, you are like the perfect person. I'd pull you in and I'd be like, yo, like make content with you or something. That'd be insane.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that sometimes, truthfully, especially for people that really work in the industry, you may not get something that you feel is going to be able to resonate with your audience, or you may not get something that'll have that ooh and ah effect because, you know, it's serious. But at least you'll know. And then you can sit there and commute the message the appropriate way so that you don't misdirect people.
That's true.
I'll give you a perfect example. And this has completely irked me to the max.
Oh, I'm ready. Yes.
Everybody sees when you have the NBA players coming in from the NBA players coming in, going to the game, you know, or, you know, straight off the bus.
It's a moment. That's a moment.
It is a moment. But then you sit there and see a sleeve and everything or whatever, right? Love you, LeBron, for what you do, but not what you do, okay? This man, LeBron James, okay, is like 6'7", 6'8",
He's
right?
a giant.
He's like 250 pounds, huge, right?
He's a specimen, yeah.
Your suit is way too tight, okay? Your sleeve is hiked all the way up, basically up on your forearm, okay? You're wearing the wrong type of shoes and everything for the type of chaps it is you've basically created with this suit. Or your tail length is too short for somebody that's your height. Okay, your gorge is not appropriate. You have this bulging at the collar and everything that you need to drop. Like, who dresses you, man?
It's interesting because they have the money for it, but I think they're just bros who play basketball.
Right, and you have these stylists, okay, that will throw this stuff on these people and everything to achieve a look. But once again, there's nothing that was made specific about it, and nothing in account to who it is that you were dressing.
Oh, so you're saying like, it's like they just threw a suit on him as opposed to like them maybe hitting you up and be like, hey, right, Greg, you want to come in and make a suit?
Or just taking a simple measurement. It's like the man's arms are huge. Like, come on now.
His arms are probably twice as long as anyone else his size. Like, this is genetically gifted for his sport.
Right. Like, he's not ready to wear.
Yeah.
You're not grabbing it off the peg, you know? And I hate that. And then you'll have guys and everything like Russell Westbrook, love him to death and everything for the fact that he pushes that fashion element and everything all the way over there. But we'll sit there as a sartorialist and be like, okay, pattern on pattern that are going in different directions and everything. It just looks like somebody just threw paint on a wall and everything in whatever different colors and just however it fell, it fell.
Do you think he knew, or do you think it was like a stylist? It's just like
no, he doesn't know. Most people don't.
I'm sure he does have a stylist. Most of them do. Yes. They definitely do.
A stylist, okay, but a stylist, okay, can be either suited more toward styling or suited more toward fashion. You can do that. You can do that walking down a runway for 15, 20 seconds. Mm-hmm. It's meant to be a show. But we're talking about something that you actually will functionally wear.
Big difference.
Big
something
difference.
That looks good in a photo as opposed to something he has to go sit interact with people and
Right.
live in, essentially.
I make clothes. I style people for you being able to go to the office, to Starbucks, to walking the dog and everything, you know, on a lunch break if you happen to be around the house, to you going happy hour, to you going home. Real world, real functionality, rakish elegance.
What do you think about people sort of deconstructing the suit now? Like I see a lot of in the recent fashion weeks, and even, I don't know how familiar you are with what Christian Soriano did at the Oscars. Did you see it?
Yep, saw that.
The guy wearing the suit gown.
Saw that.
That was insane. And
That was
a lot of
insane.
people were like, yo, that was the best thing there.
Yes, but now the question that I ask is, what purpose did it serve?
Well, I think for that, I think they're trying to communicate a social message. I don't feel like it was as much endearing to suit culture as it was as they were trying to say, you know, the whole LGBT community and trying to say like a man can wear a suit and a dress. I think it was more of that in a lot of ways, personally.
Right, correct. Now, what function did it serve? If he was walking down the street here, how would that work in the real world?
Well, I don't think that was the point there.
It's not. And that's the difference between fashion and style. That's the difference between my industry and what you see a lot of times on TV. We have a purpose. You have a cuff on your pants, okay? To be able, if you're in, you know, where cuffs are predominant and everything, which is in the UK, because it rains a lot, okay? Keeps that moisture and everything from hitting your socks and stuff on a rainy day.
Oh, cuff
in
at the bottom of
Manchester.
the pants.
Exactly. It has a purpose.
That's like that was the origin of the cuff.
Yes. That kept that water from damaging your bottom, the break on far as your shoe and everything. So it only caught the heel, which is the part that you would expect to have water and dirt and dust and everything over in there for. Okay. It would also give extra material and everything in the event that wore, that you can be able to resurface it. And it kept that water from coming into your,
where it's always rainy. It's just always sad and depressing.
Right. Why do you have a gorge pocket right above, like breast pocket, and you have pockets on your jacket? There's to be used. I walk around and I see a lot of times people don't open up their vents on their jacket. It's meant so that when you sit down, it doesn't throw off the contours and the lines of your suit. You have pockets on your suit for a reason. I open up people's gorges every day because they just had left them sealed because they went and they bought something off the rack and they don't know any better and everything. It's still stitched together. I'm like, look, man, this opens up and you can use this as an actual pocket for a reason.
But back to that gown dress, you're saying that was just a statement as opposed to it wasn't an actual thing where.
Nope. It just was that. It was meant for you to make a statement.
But you don't care that like happened. Do you think it's like, why do you feel like it? I know it's fashion and not style, but like, I thought it was cool.
It was cool, but it serves no purpose. And that's the difference.
Other than putting it in that situation and being like, look what I stand for.
Exactly. And then furthermore and everything, he was in a tux at the top, black tie all the way through, and then a flowing gown and everything, right? That's completely contradictory to what you wear a tux for, isn't it? And that's the difference.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
You wear a tux to conform, right?
Interesting, yeah.
Right. It's black on gross game, like what we talked about before. You wear that to be able to blend and everything be unilateral. There's nothing unilateral about that. Everybody in the world sees you. Everybody in the world mess around and knows what it is you're about or what you're trying to do at that point. No.
It was like the complete opposite of what a tux does that situation.
Exactly.
It was more of a,
Yep. And that's the thing, is that my viewpoints are skewed towards what its purpose is for.
Because that's what you do.
Yep.
That's just 100%. But do you appreciate the art of it by any chance? 'Cause I'm sure making that must have been insane.
Yes, it was.
God.
Yes, it was. And I do appreciate it on that level, but because of what it is that I do in the industry, I just literally respond to that like, okay, well, that's fashionable, but it serves no purpose.
What about like women in suits? Do you feel about that?
I actually was the first person in our hobby industry to be able to make a woman's garment.
Oh, cool. I wasn't sure if you're going to be like, women shouldn't wear suits, but you don't seem like you'd be like,
they definitely should. In fact, that is actually my purest passion in this business. I love women's sartorialism. Love it. There are so many things you are able to do with a woman's garment that is powerful and so unbelievably stylish.
Because you look at someone like Hillary, she's wearing, it seems like a different version of a suit in a weird way. Like even she is having to wear, as opposed to wearing like a nice dress. Even Michelle Obama, who it wasn't running for presidency, but she was first lady, she would wear seemingly suit-inspired garments.
Yep, pantsuits and everything, or suit, skirts, garments. It's everything else. And you know what it does? And this is something that's really important to me too. It interjects that power and equality in the workplace, in society, conversation, into everything. I've seen women wearing suits that look better than any man that could ever wear one. And the prestige that they exude in it, while still maintaining that femininity, I'm completely head over heels for it. You know, it just allows them to be able to step into a field where they feel that there's glass ceilings, there's a lack of inclusion, there is competing themes about their viability in the environment.
I think some people would look at a woman wearing a suit and kind of seeing like that as in a weird way of conforming to men's norms in a men-driven workplace.
I'm glad you said that as well too, because in a lot of ways, some people do feel that way. And that is why you make it their own.
However they feel.
Yes. That's why you make it a suit that was made for a woman, not a masculine garment that a woman just happens to be wearing.
Big difference.
Yes.
Yes.
I
see.
And you preserve that innate femininity and you showcase the woman. You know? You allow her to be competing themes and you embrace it. You know? There's so much strength in that, you know? And that's something that I really am strongly for, you know? I am a very big proponent for powerful, successful, highly upwardly mobile women. So,
of course.
And there's a couple of associates that I have, in particular one that I've worked with pretty intensively, that she is ruthless, dynamic, extremely intelligent, resourceful.
You know who I saw that just came to my mind? I was covering an event at the National Portrait Gallery, and they had a bunch of really big artists in there. And they had the woman who painted Michelle Obama's portrait. She came in, tall, beautiful black woman. I think she was maybe in like her 30s. I don't know. It's probably a bad guess in age. But she wore a very nice suit-inspired garment. She was not wearing a dress. She was wearing, and it felt very powerful. Like it felt very authoritative. Like she wasn't dressed as this like artist you might think. It's like she is still like that person. It was an interesting dynamic.
It bucked your conventions, didn't it?
A little bit, yeah. Like I wasn't expecting that.
Right. And it made you think of her in different ways, didn't it?
Yeah, it almost seemed like she fit more into that culture.
Exactly. But still professional.
100%.
You know? Still very, very beautiful, I'm sure, you know?
Dude, in that same event, I saw Chuck Close. You know who Chuck Close is?
Yeah.
Dude, it's so funny. I saw him, and I honestly did not know who Chuck Close was. I can't know everything. I did not know who Chuck Close was. He was like an older guy bound to a wheelchair. You know, he was paralyzed because he had like a collapsed vertebrae or something like that. And he was with like the most gorgeous women. Like this girl was not like mid-20s. I'm like, wait a minute, something's going on here. I'm like, what's going on? And he was dressed very well, by the way.
Yeah.
I was like, this is really interesting. I was like, Chuck. And then someone's like, yo, that's Chuck Close. And I was like, who? He's like, he did Bill Clinton's photo and all these big things. And I was like, oh, whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, whoa. Like, oh, so that's a gold digger.
Maybe not.
Hey, maybe not. That could have been love. Let me not assume the intentions there.
But that helps.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm sure it's
helps.
way more influence to push him around.
Oh yeah, that definitely helps. So, but back to the theme of powerful women.
Yeah, of course, that's one.
I am a big proponent of this individual, Midoriya May. Okay, because of all the things it is that I expressed earlier and everything, she is just resourceful. She's focused. And the thing about it is that makes it so, I don't know, just awe-inspiring to me is the fact that she meets you on your terms very sparingly. You have to meet her on her terms.
Who is this?
Well, she's a very influential individual in this area.
You can't say okay.
Oh yeah, of course, I definitely can, so I'm pretty sure she would love that as a whole. But she is America's Next top model, participant, contestant, actually one of the finalists and everything on the show for the AW15 series. So that's season 15, I believe, on the show. So she's a brand ambassador for a couple of different brands as it is right now. So the lead curation director, media content creator, and everything for iFashion Magazine as well too.
Whoa.
But yeah, just outstanding. So outstanding. But the thing that really resonates with me with her is that you meet her on her plane of
It's
existence.
interesting.
You know, you meet her at her level. She demands it. She commands a certain presence in the room at all times, whether she speaks or not, you know? And it's everything that resonates with me as a professional because it forces you to buck convention and to ascend, you know, to be able to push your own limitations, you know, thinking outside the box is a necessity when you approach said individual, you know, and even the people that she surrounds herself with.
Like when you interact with her, you kind of feel like you have to think at a different level or something.
You most definitely do.
It's interesting.
You know, but you are also very aware and everything that she's at least 3 or 4 steps ahead of you. I've seen it in practice, you know. Now, specifically with me and everything, we share a lot of mentalities, you know, so I have never intimately experienced that, but I've seen it in practice, you know. She is dynamic.
Now,
Yes.
Yep. Don't sit where you are. I was just
All
pushing
right.
close to your face.
Cool.
Yeah, that thing moves. So you can't say her name?
Midoriya May.
Okay, I thought you did it. I thought you were like hiding it. I missed it.
Oh, no.
Midoriya May.
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
So, and in front of a camera, she is unparalleled.
I'm gonna have to look her up.
I would hope so.
If I had a screen here, I'd definitely pull it up like right here. It'd be so perfect.
I know, right?
When at that
Hey,
production
for the
level.
future.
Hey, for the
For the
future, I'm gonna
future.
have like my own person man the cameras. Each will have her own camera looking at us. It'll be cool
I can dig it.
one day.
So-
But
that's the thing. Putting her in a suit, she's not defined by what it is that she wears. What it is that I would have to create for her would have to complement.
so have you created for her?
No, I have not just yet. It takes time to do what it, and that's the other thing about our industry too. It takes about 8 weeks on average to be able to create a garment. That's another thing that you have to understand and everything about our industry too, is that you'll be coming into my shop to get a garment and everything that you're going to be wearing for next season most of the time. It takes a certain level of forethought, you know? You're going to pay a certain amount of money, which is not small, to not walk out of the store that day with anything. Wait 2 months basically to be able to get it, okay? And then address anything that is that you may want changed and everything about that garment at that point in time. So it takes a certain level of thinking, you know, and also takes a certain lifestyle, you know, to be able to buy into sartorialism.
Cool.
And you're paying for craftsmanship. You're paying for an experience. You're paying for detail and precision. And that's what it is you expect, period.
Dude, we've covered everything in more that I even had written down. I'm not like looking at my DMs. I've been trying to be better at researching and learning more about people, and so I just had so many things I wanted to touch on. We pretty much hit it. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Well, I just want to express my appreciation for this platform, man.
Oh yeah, hey, no problem, man.
You know, like this is great. Like I actually like this a lot.
Yeah, it's fun just to talk to people, huh?
Yeah.
How often do you actually sit down and just have a conversation with someone?
You know,
It's so not a thing. Now, I feel like more people should just reach out to people and be like, hey, can I buy you coffee or buy you a drink and just talk? I want to pick your brain.
exactly. And for that intimacy, a lot of times you don't get that.
Yeah.
You know, we're in the age of social media. You don't get intimacy anymore.
Dude, I mean, like, it's interesting because I approach interviews and stuff like this, like from a way where I don't expect anything. If someone comes on, I'm like grateful. I don't care if they rescheduled 3 or 4 times. I have an interview later today. The guy has rescheduled like 4 times. I feel no type of way. I'm just grateful for someone's time.
Right.
And like, I don't expect anything from anyone. Like, I think someone with the wrong intention could easily be like, let me get him on so I could shoot his suits and then ask to be his clients. Like, no. When you approach things like that, that's completely the wrong
Just
thing.
let it be completely organic.
Yeah, you know, it's like, dude, you blew my mind with stuff you said here today, man. So cool. It was great having you on the show. If anyone listening or watching wants to check you out, what should they do?
If you ever want to check me out, you can go to GHT Greg Michael on Instagram. You can also, of course, visit me in my shop that's stitched in the MGM National Harbor. Or just give me a call. You know, I'm very accessible. So I am a regular guy.
Don't say your number out loud.
Of course
by
not.
the way.
Of course not.
The internet's a crazy thing.
The internet is a crazy thing, you know, but I'm very accessible, guys. And not only that, I do like working with people, you know, my perspectives are not limited to anything, you know? I am enriched by the experiences that it is I have. I love personalities. Let's have a conversation, you know?
I almost forgot. But at the end of the show, I'd like to just ask the guest, like, is there anything you want to say to someone who maybe is aspiring to like do what you do, or aspiring to maybe express themselves fashion wise, or, you know, be as unique as you look, but maybe they feel suppressed about it? It doesn't have to be any of those things, but is there anything else maybe you want to throw out there?
Grit. You can't teach grit. Your determination, okay, is extremely pivotal in your success, okay? Your only limitation is your mindset on a theme, you know? You have to have personal sacrifice. Truthfully, personal sacrifice is critical to any type of success it is you're going to have, but understand that there's no way to circumvent it. There's no way to just skip over the hard parts of it. Employ true dedication in what it is that you're doing. Understand a thing, know a thing before you jump out there, but don't be deterred by the enormity of the dream, you know? Don't have it be such a vast thought in your mind that's just so unapproachable and unattainable that you don't even take that first step. Like I said in the beginning of our podcast, I've lost more money in this business than I have ever gained up until this point.
Someone might have given up there.
Yes. And you just can't give up, you know? You have to have a plan, you know? And understand that your plan has to be malleable. But stay dedicated, stay focused, you know? Understand that there's always light at the end of the tunnel, no matter what it is that you do. But those hardships are part of the journey, you know?
Cool.
Yeah.
Great, man. That's heavy, dude.
Thank you, man.
Sweet, dude. Well, hey, you guys heard it. Check him out. And yeah, guys, that's it. That's the angle. Man. Greg, thanks for coming on, man.
My man, thank you so much, bro.
Hey.
So much, man.
That's cool. Now I just got to shut this thing off. Yeah.
Let's do it.
While you were saying that, I could literally hear the opera.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? Like, it was, I was like, wow. I was like, this is like the end of a movie or something.
Hey, man. Time is, you know?